And now, this week's edition of Big Face with your host, Samantha Jane Tilton.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Face. We are here today with an old friend of mine that I've not connected with in so long. He is an actor, a wrestling personality. His name is Marc Chouen. Welcome to Big Face.
Welcome indeed. I am so pumped to be here. Pumped to see you. It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time, like years, right?
Has it been years? It has been, right?
When's the last time? I mean, was it?
I mean, this whole year does feel like 10 years in itself.
I know.
So, I mean, if we're going based off that, yeah, it's been
based
years.
off that, it's been years. So Marc, I got to say, Marc is one of those people that is so good at like staying in touch, touching base every so often. And I'm the worst. Like I'll have texts that like, if I open them, there's like no chance so I like keep them saved. Like I don't read them. So I'm like, I really want to get back to this person. And like, you're one person I always want to connect with. And I always like shit the bed on that front.
No, it's no worries. Listen, hell, you're not the only one. It happens to me too. I mean, I'm one of those people, like when I get a text, I have to immediately respond. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. And then also it drives me crazy, like seeing just like the one and the two, like the notifications on my phone, a little anal retentive like that. So
but that serves you. That
right.
I'm sure that serves you in your acting. Actually, this is funny. So we're going to talk to Marc about so many things because I have so many questions because we haven't talked in so long. But I have one question I was thinking about earlier. Okay. I have a self-tape due tomorrow. I've had this one particularly, it's for like representation. I've had like at least 3 weeks to do it. It's due tomorrow. And like, I'm still like, it's going to be in today, but I wait to the last second to do everything. And so now I ask, when you have an audition due or something to rehearse, are you like so on top of it?
I'm on top of it. Usually, if my schedule allows me to, which lately, thankfully it has. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, it happens to a lot of us. Sometimes you get really busy doing different things or you're working on different projects. And, you know, if you thank God that you have that leeway, especially if it's like a bigger part, and you really have to like, you know, get to coaching done with it, delve into the character, learn it. You know, you want to take your time with it. There's a good balance with it. You know, I mean, if it's an under 5,
right,
then you know, if you have the time, just jump right into it. You know, play around with it, have fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's normally how I would roll.
But you prepare, like it's funny because I've always been like this my whole life. I think certain patterns either stay with you for life or like they really mess your life up and you have to really make some big changes. Like I remember my dad telling me like he used to always be late his whole entire life. And then he like almost lost my mom over it because she was like,
really?
Yeah, because he'd be like hours late and he'd leave her hanging. And she was like, nah. So
she set him straight.
She did. And he like stopped being late. And then he's like psychotically early. But this is one thing that's been in my life forever. I was always wait to the last minute to study for a test, to you know, to write a report, everything.
You know, I was the same way growing up. But, you know, I mean, you're talking about schoolwork. And I was an okay student. I'll admit I probably could have been better. But, you know, I mean, when it came down to like, you know, learning my lines or learning the character, I was always on top of it. So I guess it just comes down to like, you know, what do I care about the most, you know? Right. Or just, again, also, how busy are you?
Yeah. I mean, it's also, there's something about pressure that works really well for certain people. For me, it does.
And that was another thing I was going to get into. Like some people thrive underneath that pressure.
Yeah. Not like when I'm bartending and like there's 9,000 people waiting for a drink. That pressure, I'm like, everyone's drink is going to be wrong. But like a due date for something, I'm like.
Bar rescue, they'd freak out under that. What is she doing?
What is she? Oh my God, I used to get it like what? Thank God I had a good personality back then because otherwise that would have sucked.
Back then, you still have a good personality.
Thanks. Yeah, I make it work. You guys, you see a little. Sorry, my cat just pulled my pen off the table. So tell me, how the hell are you?
Oh man. I feel like that's a loaded question this year.
Yeah. I think it is. And a lot of people are, I think, worried to be honest about it because they don't want to seem negative.
Right. No, of course. And I'm always a type of person to stay positive, but
Yes, you are.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been an up and down year. It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Some great days, some bad days, some good moments, and some bad moments in between. All that. It's just it's been crazy. But I've the silver lining for it is I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, about my wife. I feel like we've learned a lot about each other. This is the most time we've ever spent together.
Yeah.
And
sure.
just I learned a lot just about, I guess, life in general. I feel like my eyes been open to a lot of different things. So
yeah,
in a way, it's been good.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of people are asking, like, especially in the beginning of this, TikTok was at its height. Why don't you do more TikTok videos?
I still don't even understand it.
I actually do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm not like trying to be TikTok famous or anything.
Yeah.
But like, oh, when do you write a script or make a movie, make a pandemic script? Do you know how many people are doing that right now?
I know.
So my whole thing was, all right, so many people are just throwing themselves out there making content.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I still have my podcast to keep me sane.
Which we'll get to, guys. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
But for me, I was like, all right, I'm just going to take 2 steps back. So when I get out of this, I'm going to be golden. So like, I've been learning a lot of different things. I've been practicing my craft, taking workshops, just continuously learning different things and trying to evolve as a person. And I like making low key moves. I know I share a lot on social media, but there are a lot of things I haven't shared on social media yet that I'm making all these low key moves that when I come out of this, I'm going to be better than I ever have been. Play it smart.
Play it smart. That's, you know what? It's a really strange time because it's kind of like, there's been moments where I'm kind of like, this time is pointless. It's pointless to do anything. It's pointless to, and then it also feels like then when you see other people making moves, it's like, I'm pissing my life away. And there's also the emotional component to like how we're feeling throughout all this, to be able to, for me,
totally.
that affects the productivity that I have,
Totally. And I get the whole point of like, trying to stay positive for yourself and for other people. But at the same time, that could be detrimental because then you're not owning your true feelings. There's a way to be like own your feelings and how you're dealing with it all. Is still be positive, because by doing that, everyone's going through the same thing that you're going through right now, unless you're an ultra billionaire. But
exactly,
like in a way, you're coping, you're helping everyone else cope. So, and I think that's 100%. The way to look at it.
I've had people that have thought twice about coming on the show, and still some of them have not come on the show, and it's due to most people feel like right now they have nothing worth sharing because they might be having a hard time during certain times. Their life looks different than it did when they were super productive.
Of course.
Or they're not as physically fit, which is, I think, most people. Like,
that was me in the beginning, I'll tell you that.
Dude, it's like it's a process. Like, dude, so we just got on and we both looked at each other. We're like, you look good. You look good. And it's like, it's a nice thing because it's not easy to, like, for me, it hasn't been easy to take super good care of myself throughout all of this. It's been like, let's order in, just, who cares?
Yeah, I have to tell you, in the very beginning of this, it hit me hard because, I felt like, because, in the industry, you read all the trades, you read all the bad news, and it seems like, are we going to come back, like, ever?
I know.
I felt like almost like an athlete that just found out you have a career-ending injury. And, like, I'm not ready to give this up. Like, I'm just hitting my stride here. And it was very hard for me, emotionally, mentally. So, I just let things go. I went back to like my old days of drinking, like when I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah. I
had a full stacked bar because people like me were like, hey, you like alcohol? But, I didn't drink that much anymore because I'm trying to watch, how my body is.
Yeah.
And also my mental state. Yeah. So that full bar dwindled down pretty fast. And, again, like you mentioned before, ordering out, eating whatever. And, I let myself go a little bit, and it felt bad. I was kept on feeling bad for myself. Sam, it got so bad, I cried in the shower. Like
I
that.
hear you.
I've never hit a point where you could cry in the shower. And let me tell you, it's a weird feeling. It's a really weird feeling because you get out, like, am I wet or is this tears? Like, what's going on here?
This is salty. It says, I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
like, never have I ever cried in a shower. I could drink to that now. But it got to a point, like, after a bit, I was just like, I said it out loud too. I said to my wife, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I've had enough. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. And from that day forward, I put out a plan for myself, and I was right back into it. Mentally, I just never looked back. I'm the best shape I've ever been in my life.
It's amazing, man. It's really amazing. But and there's something to be said about feeling the feelings and being honest about them, and allowing myself to feel them and hitting a bottom with them. Because the more I try and I'm okay, or I try and not feel them, it's like I'm stuck in this, in this circular thing. And until I go, like, it's not okay, and like I feel it hard. This happened to me the other day, actually. I like felt it really hard. I was crying. I don't know the last time I cried that much. And I've been better since.
Sometimes you should have to let it out. You let your body go through whatever it has to go through.
Yeah.
It's going to manifest itself one way or another. Like, the more you try to fight it, the worse it's going to be.
Yep. I know.
I'm speaking from experience, man. So.
Ditto. I fight myself until the point where I'm like, I'm not going to win. Like I can't control all this. I got to let go. I got to, what have you, so you said, if it's okay to ask, you said that you've been doing more low-key things that, for yourself, to take care of yourself, to put yourself in a better position. What are some of those low-key things? If you're okay sharing it.
No, yeah, it's fine. I'm actually in the beginning stages of starting a new business. Very beginning stages. Thank you. With an old friend of mine, focused on social media and small businesses. I've come from, before I became an actor and entertainer, I worked in a managerial position at a credit union. And I've always been a big believer in small businesses. I think they're the backbone of our country. Yeah. And they've been hurting the most right now. And, I hate to admit it, I'm pretty decent at social media.
You're damn good at doing what you do. I got to just say this about you. Like, when I first met Marc, which I'll explain when I met you. Do you remember when we met?
Yes, I do. It was at an audition.
Yes, it was at an audition. But he's just always so on top of it. Like, you're smooth and like savvy, but not phony. You're all these things. You follow through, and you keep it like top shelf action, but with integrity and honesty, which is like
make me tear up.
But it's really true, because a lot of people, there's a lot of social media, there's a lot of what we put out there. It's not necessarily genuine. You do what you do, and you do it professionally, but you are very authentic as a human being. You've always been.
Thank you, Sammy. I'm truly touched by that, because like, everyone could smell bullshit a mile away. Am I allowed to curse on this? Sorry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just want people to be comfortable and be themselves. So yes.
Fair enough. So people can smell bullshit a mile away. We're like sharks in the water when it comes to that. When they smell blood, get on top of it. We smell bullshit through social media, even. So it's just like I've battled, like, I was very anti-social media in the beginning stages of all of it. And, I was just like, oh man, this feels so not me. It felt fake. Yep. And, I think people were able to sense that. So it's like, no, man, all right, let me just be me, be more real. And I see the difference too with it. I'm enjoying it more. I'm enjoying the process more. And so that's what I see with social media, with the small businesses. I see a lot of times it's like the business owner who have no idea what they're doing, or they have like an employee doing it, and no one's managing these pages full time. And it's a shame, really. So like me and my business partner were looking into this. We're looking actually in business models and we actually have investors interested in going along with us.
Wonderful.
I have freelancers interested. So I've been making like some low key moves about this, and help local brands as well. So our goal is to help manage their pages full time and actually help produce content for them.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's what, how did you, sorry, there was such a blanket, like, I just felt that. How did you stumble upon taking those actions?
So it's funny, actually. So I have to say, with this, I've never been like a Zoom person, Skype or FaceTime. So in the beginning of this, so like, you know, it allowed me to reconnect with a lot of people. And as you mentioned, like, you know, I actually have a follow-up schedule. I do follow up with a lot of people, but this time allowed me to do so more so, right? And do like more video interaction, talking with people. So I reconnected with an old college friend of mine, my friend Stoney. And, you know, and it's not like we lost touch. We, you know, we texted loosely along the way. We used to work together all the time. He was a director, I'm an actor, producer. So we did a lot of projects together growing up in college. He had a family. I wound up doing it full time. He got into business, do finance stuff. So, you know, the pandemic hit, you know, I'm out of work. He got laid off. He's out of work. So we started connecting. We started talking about all the stuff that's going on. We started doing video conferences. We started like reminiscing about our old projects, and lo and behold, actually, we're doing a web series together. We're in a pre-production for that. That's another low key move we're doing. Yeah, we're figuring it out. We have the scripts.
Just, you know, just this little, just a web series. You know, nothing really worth mentioning. Hello.
Well, we're like early stages of pre-production with that too. We have like the first season written out. We have to iron it out still, but yeah, we're looking to shoot hopefully by like first quarter, I would say, of 2021. Hopefully we'll shoot. But yeah, so like we were going along with that. So we started talking, and then he's like, dude, you know, this feels like old times. You know, we should, with your adventures and my adventures, and like, you know, all that we know, we gotta do something together. You know, we gotta do like some sort of work together for good. Because, you know, if you want to think of stuff, because my old partners, they're looking to invest possibly or help us out, raise capital.
Yeah.
Like, awesome, cool. So I was really thinking about his strengths and my strengths, and, you know, what the world needs right now. And so I pitched this to him. I said, hey, man, like, you know, this is what we're good at. These are the connections that we have. And this is what the world needs. And small businesses hurting. They need social media help. That's not going away. And he's like, dude, I love it. Let's rock out. So we've been making a lot of moves, again, low key. Like, I haven't been really advertised. This is my first time really talking about it in like the podcast world or anything like that. Yeah. So it's really exciting. We're both pumped for it. It feels like it has life, this project.
And there's beautiful intention behind it. Like, I love the purpose of it and small business. It's funny because my boyfriend John, the other night, he went to go get some drinks and he came back with not what we necessarily wanted, and I'm like, oh, what, they didn't have it? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why didn't you go to 7-Eleven? And he's like, because it's the corner store that he went to, and we go there. And he's like, because they're a corner store, and like, it's a lot harder for them right now than it is for 7-Eleven. And it's like,
totally.
And so he got not what we wanted, but like something else, because he's, you know, and I think it's important. It's important.
I've always been like, I don't know if you want to call it like an underdog type of guy. I mean, hell, I'm a New York Jets fan, so I am Mr. Underdog here. But I've always been a big fan of small businesses. Like, hell, even like my bank accounts.
Yep.
I don't have in the big banks. I have in credit unions.
So good. It's so good. I think it's worth, there's certain things that are not common knowledge, although you would think they would be this day and age. Like, I think about different things that students have to learn in school, and I'm like, they don't care about this. It's not really going to serve them in the future. Like, there should be classes teaching kids about recycling, about the environment, so they actually know the facts about things. I mean, that's just an example, but
facts. They should know facts. I've been saying this time and time again. We live in a world right now where people don't know the difference between a fact and an opinion. And I think there's a lot of things that should be taught in this class that you're talking about. And I think that's one of them.
That is one of them. It's like, there are certain life skills, certain life realities that are not a reality to a lot of people, because unless you hear about it, unless you've been told, like, what, there was something recently where I was like, I didn't know that. And it was something that is somewhat important. I forget what it was. or what it was in context to. But anyway, this is important. People a lot of times aren't even thinking. Oh, I think it was about recycling and my thoughts about it and stuff. And a lot of people don't even think like that. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just get plastic and paper plate. Unless you have somebody that kind of goes, hey, guess what? That actually does this, but if you did this, and it's like, oh, some people don't even know or aren't even aware. So the small business thing is like, my boyfriend said that, like, I wanted to go to the corner store. It's like, yeah. So now I'll only want to go to the corner store.
Right. Listen, the big corporations, they're always going to make their money. They're always going to make their money, man. But like, the small business people forget about. And, I'm sure if you really think about it, if you really look in your phone right now, you could look at a few people that either work at a small business or run a small business.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, if you grew up in a small town, that's a lot of people there.
I know. It's really amazing. When are we going to know? When are you going to know a little bit more? And I don't want to push anything, but like, do you have some plans in motion?
Oh yeah, we have plans in motion. We've been working pretty much every day, just making sure we're doing this right. When we get the numbers right, when we get the modules right.
Yeah.
Realistically, someone said, like, well, do you even really need investors for this? Can't you just start this now? Technically, yeah, you can, but I think we set ourselves up for so much risk by doing that. Yeah. Especially like, we're going to have a lot of freelancers involved with this. So we want to make sure they get paid because we want them to do a good job and we want our clients to be happy. So, and we want our company to grow. So we're trying to do this the smartest way possible. If it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer, just as long as we do it right.
That's smart. I hate rushing into things. I don't like to do it. You can't go wrong taking a little bit longer, but making sure it's done right, Right.
There's no harm in it. Listen, I know we all want to, like, I see so many people like they just like rushing to do things or doing things because I just need to do something. Yeah. I understand that. I need to stay busy all the time. Trust me, I do.
I know.
But this year, if anything, it taught me more so to think with this instead of this.
I was waiting for you to point to your dick, like think with this. I was like, okay, I don't know how that applies right now, but sure.
I'm not that guy, Sammy. I'm not that guy. Although funny. I think a lot of guys can learn with that too. Don't think with that either.
For reals. Oh my God.
I think guys, we learned that, like, was it 2 years ago? Me Too movement happened. We learned that 2 years ago.
I think guys, yes, I know. There's like a whole new awareness for men. I think for women too. Honestly, like it was. Yeah. Side note, because that we go down a whole path there. But,
totally.
You know what? Thinking it's okay. This is a question. You said thinking with this and not this. And I would say totally. What did you study in college?
I had a bachelor's in communications and I went for a master's in journalism.
Huh. I didn't know that you had a master's in journalism. Or maybe I did, but I forgot. But that's wow. I was going to say.
It's again, it's a low key thing. Like not many people know about that because I never went into journalism. I actually had a focus in that for public relations. But at the time I was working at a credit union and I was making good money there. And it turned out I kept getting promoted. But I was going from a grad school. And it turned out by the time I got a job doing PR work, I was already making more at the credit union than I would in PR. It's like, oh, okay. And plus I didn't love it enough. It was good to know though. There's a lot of things I learned a lot about and I still apply today. I don't regret any of those experiences.
No, that's the same thing. I studied, psychology and sociology in college. I didn't go into those things, but they're a part of me, just like acting. I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand. So it's like,
totally.
and they all inform. For me, they inform me as an actor, as a director. They inform me as a human.
Right. Right.
So,
I think all these things, especially as an actor, I mean, especially psychology in general. It's funny. So I'm doing a play right now and I'm process rehearsal.
Ask you about that. Yeah, because you were saying about rehearsal. You texted me that. So I'm like, what is he doing? Tell me.
Yeah, so I have to play right here, actually. Little Dog Laughed.
How is that? Who's that by? Douglas
Carter Bean. I probably should know that by heart, but I'm really bad by that.
I put you on the spot. So How is that? Yeah.
It's going really well. So touching on what you were talking about with
Yeah.
psychology and acting, it's just so interesting because this is a part I've never played before. And I love it because I love challenges. Like there's nothing more I love than being challenged.
Yep.
And it's getting to that mindset and figuring out why this character's doing this, or why they're saying that, or why is this whole scene happening, what's really going on here.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much psychology to it.
There's so much. I tell that to my students, like I teach acting class over Zoom, and I'm like, actually their assignment for this week is to pick classes, say Sunday, classes tomorrow. So their assignment was to bring into class something that they think they would never be cast in, that is so foreign for them that they could not even perceive themselves doing it. And I want them to bring something like that in, and something that they've never really worked on, because I truly believe that my old acting teacher would say we have the universe inside of us. And I really believe that. And if we're truly actors, I think we are so susceptible to suggestion and imagination. And I think if we are willing and open to the challenge of being uncomfortable and pushing ourselves, the universe is just there waiting.
That's the thing, though. I mean, as actors, you have to open yourself up to that. I think it's harder to do as male actors to do that because, as guys, you're trained pretty much to be more guarded. And I think that actually was probably one of my problems growing up. Was I was, grew up in a, with two older brothers, manly men, and I was surrounded by that.
Yep.
I played sports and whatnot. So I grew up kind of guarded, but going more and more into the arts of this and exploring myself with this, allowed me to be more open. And that's really when the true golden moments happen, is when you allow it to, instead of fighting it. And I think that's one of the best things about acting that I loved right away. It's especially when you get into character, you're learning things about yourself even that you never knew that you had. Like I can't even tell you how many parts that I played. Or it's like, man, this is so not me. But going more and more into the rehearsal process and learning the characters, you learn so much about yourself, and it's like a cool feeling after you do it. It's like, whoa, I never knew I had that.
It's so crazy. It's like I never even thought like that before, or felt like that before. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, because it's still you.
Exactly. It's a really crazy feeling. It's a really crazy feeling. It's my friend who I always like do my self tapes with and stuff. And he's learned this about me now. I'm an actor that I am much better if I do not prepare.
Okay.
I am so much better. Like I can act if I don't prepare. It's good to familiarize myself with the lines, and then I know those. But other than that, I should not prepare. I get into my head. My instinct, I immediately am with the character. But if I think about it, done. So I've learned. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, no, there's something to be said about that, because I think I used to be that type of actor where I would, the process would be like, how am I going to say the line? How am I going to deliver this? How am I going to do that? And no. Because then you're going to get in your own head, especially if, God forbid, director gives you a note and says, "Oh, how about you try something different?" Like, what?
Right. And then the brain starts going, and it's like, what do I do with that?
You handcuff yourself. And there's something to be said about what you do there with that. And I do something similar. When I prepare more so like the psychology side of things, and the emotions and the lines, of course.
Yeah.
And why the writer wrote certain things, like why is there ellipsis there? Why is there the exclamation point? Why is it written like this? It's more so why instead of the how.
100%. And I always say this, like, to whether I'm coaching somebody or whatever, I'm like, no word in here is written for no reason. So this line doesn't just get thrown away just because it's not the big juicy part. It was written there for a reason. So we have to say it with purpose. Like, even if it's just, in order to throw something away, to not have somebody look at us, whatever the intention of the actor is, it's written for a reason. Nothing is just words, you know?
Nothing is. Right.
And it's very cool. Like, so guys, I think it's so cool. This is what's awesome when I talk to other creative people, is that like Mark and I, it sounds like we have very different processes also. And like, but also what's very similar, as you said, about being a man and growing up and being kind of guarded. And I think that that's something that is rampant in our society, that, you know, men have to be this certain way. They shouldn't cry. They shouldn't. And it's like, you know, some men think it's unattractive if they cry. I would always, when I dated somebody, when they were that vulnerable, it made me love them more, because
Wow.
it never, people were like, oh, it's going to turn you off. It never did. It always made me love them more, that they were human, you know?
I think we're becoming, since we're living in a time where mental health is more of, there's more awareness to it.
Yes.
I think it's becoming more and more acceptable. I hate using that word, but I think that's probably the best word to use right now. It's become more acceptable for men to cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's become more normalized. Don't get me wrong. I think, there's still, a lot of guys out there where they're guarded or they're a certain way. I'm talking for, living in the tri-state area.
Yeah. We grew up in, all right. And just to say, we both grew up in Long Island.
Yes.
So those of you, if you're not from New York, Long Island, New York is like the suburbs for New York City. And there's like a certain way of being there. It's kind of a more polished version of New York. So when you think of New York City and there's all these different people and a melting pot, Long Island is not so much that. And I grew up I had to be like I was always a weirdo, because I'm not like everybody else, because I'm an actor and all that stuff. I'm my own person.
You say weirdo, I say cool. So
right. And you know what? Weirdo used to feel bad. I own being a weirdo and I love it. The weirder I am, the better. And the weirder the people that I love are, the better.
Right.
They're more interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're adults now. Back in school, going to school in Long Island. I mean, you're talking about small towns here.
Yep.
And very cliquey, very gossipy. You can't sneeze without the next person knowing, without the next 5 people knowing.
Yep, exactly. And then the other school on the other side of town knows too.
Right, exactly. They wore what? No.
I know. It's funny because there's something like, I don't know, who we grew up with, the messages that we grew up around, at least for me, they affected my ability to be who I wanted to be, which turns out was an actor, which I buried for so many years. My old friends from Long Island, I still love them. And they did not mean any harm. But when I started to try and really become myself and change my life, I was like, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be an actor. And they're like, okay, you're going to be an actor. Sure. And they didn't mean any harm. They just,
no, they never do. They never do.
But I couldn't keep hearing that if I was going to try and figure out who I was, because then I'd always be a version that everybody else saw me as.
But you have to keep in mind too where they're coming from, because I have the same thing with my friends back home, and I love them.
You do.
I'm still best friends with my boys from the girls from like high school and middle school, some of them even elementary school. So I still love them today. We're still solid friends, but they're trying to watch out for you. That's the thing. When you hear something like so crazy and outlandish, like, I'm gonna be an actor, I'm gonna be on the big screen, like they're gonna say okay, okay, and keep dreaming, but what's your backup job? What are you gonna do? Marketing? Are you gonna be psychology? Like, what are you gonna do? What's the real thing? They're looking out for you, and I understood that. So that's why when I decided to leave my job, the credit union, and to go into acting, I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell anyone, because I knew damn well, I was very apprehensive about this.
Right.
I'm making solid money. I'm a rising star, if you will, at this company. I have security. And, here I am at 29. I'm going to switch gears all of a sudden because I don't want to die asking what if. Yep. That was the biggest thing for me. And
courage. It takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to get out of what's comfortable.
And even though I had that seed of doubt in there of are you doing the right thing, man? Like, what did you smoke before this? But I was planning for a year. I made sure Thomas. I went with him to be my business manager, to help me along with this transition. I saved for a year. To make sure, like, if I didn't get a single job for 12 months at a time, I would still be covered. My overhead would be covered. Yeah. And I saved to that point so that I can quit my job and just go into it. I was 29 years old. I'm 34 today. I'm still acting. I'm still doing this. And it was the best thing I could have done. But at the same time, I didn't tell anyone because I knew damn well I was going to get that. I was going to get what they said to you. Are you sure about this, man? What are you doing? I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell them until I did it. And they're like, what?
Makes so much sense.
Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And I explained to them, like, listen, no, I know what I've been doing for a while. I've been planning for this. I've been doing a lot of things, low-key moves at that time.
Yep.
And here I am. I was able to do it. I'm so much happier for it. So, like, and actually today, actually going on top of my friends and my family back home, they're my biggest supporters. They're my biggest fans of this. Yeah. And like, dude, I admire what you do. But at the same time, I knew they were going to try to talk me out of this. And honestly, if I told at least just one person, I probably at that time was so fragile minded.
Yeah.
I would have been talked out of it.
Because it's just a seed at that point. It hasn't sprouted. It's not like this fully formed thing. So like, it's easy to just stomp out a seed in the dirt, but once you let it grow, and it's not as easy to pull that entire tree out of the ground, so that makes sense. Yeah. It's
that's what I say. Like, those low key moves are probably the most powerful things to do, because you're doing it in silence. You're doing it in the darkness, but you're doing it. You're not doing it to get the attention. You're doing it for you. And then it's for the world to see afterwards. The world to see afterwards the results of what you did, that hard work that you did when no one else is watching.
What does the end of your email say before your name?
Aspire to inspire.
I feel like
I live by.
I feel like you just said that in other words, like, because what you did was you built something for you, and you get to then share it with others, which is inspirational. And it's really wonderful, man. That's
one of the biggest things. Like, why do this? Why am I doing this? It's not for the money. It's
maybe one day that would be great if it came along with it. But what? No,
I've been making a living, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Of course, always want more. Of course. But it wasn't for that. It wasn't for the fame. It wasn't for any of those things. It was because I love it. I enjoy it. But at the same time, doing this can inspire others. I'm a big believer in following your dreams. And if I could lead by example for just even one person, then I did my job.
That's a beautiful thing, man. If not to try and leave the world better, to make one person think differently, maybe inspire somebody else to take a risk, what else is our purpose here other than to leave a mark that hopefully made a difference?
Right. Because when you die, and we all going to die one day.
Yep.
Like, how do you want to be remembered? It's not, no one's going to remember what you did. No one remembers that. It's how you made them feel.
That's a really amazing thing.
I mean, like, I've lost so many people in my life.
Yeah, me too.
And like, I know I'm going to face my own demise one day. And, I want people to remember like how I made them feel. What I do in my life, how I do that, that's on me. Hopefully I have a long journey ahead of me.
That's what, God willing.
Yeah, God willing.
You're still a spring chicken. Yeah.
I mean, hell, a lot of friends I lost were spring chickens too. So
I know.
Not to be taken for granted.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. And you're here, man. You're here, and and you're acting and you're making a living and inspiring people. And you have a podcast, which which guys, I didn't even know about until, of course, one of the many times that Marc reaches out and I spaz out on. He told me about his podcast and I was like, what the hell? So tell us a little bit about this. We called you, I introduced Marc as a wrestling personality. So wink, wink. What is it?
What is this wrestling personality you speak of? Well, now I'm going to shift gears here. This is me, your favorite actor, the Hollywood assassin, Marc Chouen. So that is my wrestling personality. I am a wrestling manager and commentator. But yes, I also am a co-host on a podcast. It's not my podcast, for the record. Okay. This is not mine that I own. This is my good friend Michael J. Putty, the Green Man Abel, and Jimmy J. They're all part of this podcast. It's a fun family. I got involved with them actually at a wrestling show.
Really?
And yeah, so it was at an indie show in Queens.
My hood.
Yeah, there you go. We just finished a wrestling event. My guys came out top as usual.
Of course, come on.
And we're at the bar afterwards celebrating. And this guy, Michael J. Putty, my friend Eric Jaden, who I manage, he was just like, hey man, you guys should link up. It's got a podcast, hey Putty, why don't you interview him? Right? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I love him. Blah blah blah. We just started having drinks. We were talking about Jeff Jarrett, who's a old school wrestler. So old school, but someone
not that old school. Yeah.
Someone that we both enjoyed growing up, and we just bonded from there. And the next thing you know, I was guesting his podcast, and then it just grew from there. I just kept on coming back for more and more and more. And next thing you know, I'm his co-host.
So awesome.
And we just formed like a really great friendship. Or on the podcast, and there we call ourselves frenemies, probably. But no, honestly, I love the dude. I love the whole Shot Wrestling family. It's been especially during these times, my saving grace, because it was like probably at one point the only thing I was doing creatively that was keeping me going.
I get it. So you grew up watching WWF. So by the way, when we grew up, it was WWF. Not that we're dating ourselves or anything. It wasn't WWE yet. So
it's now WWE, but yes, WWF. Yes. I was a huge fan. Still am a big fan of wrestling. Yeah. Because I'm involved in it.
I told you, like my boyfriend, like we would always watch like NXT and like we he loves wrestling. He's a little like about it right now. He's got some conflict with certain things that happen, but
I can only imagine there are a lot of stuff that happened this year.
A lot of stuff. And it's like it's really fun. It's so funny because we've watched matches and I'm like, oh my God, who's my man? I'm totally blanking on his name, but like we would watch matches and I'll be like, no, is he gonna lose? I hate him. If he's gonna lose, I'm never watching again. Like he's like,
I love it. I
get like so pumped. Oh my God, I get so pumped.
I love that energy. I need to watch a show with you.
Oh, dude, we should do like a freaking Zoom hang and watch some matches.
Totally.
You would love it because I am way too affected.
Survivor Series coming up. Maybe we can do it for that.
Dude, we should, for real.
Right. I think it next week, right?
Is it next week?
I think next week.
Dude, can we for real make a plan on that?
Totally. I'll put it on my calendar.
Wait. Okay, I'm actually writing this down. So guys, you hang on. We have plans to make. Yeah. So you're a commentator.
Yes.
Give me a taste of what that sounds like. Something.
Oh man. So I go off. I'm a color commentator. So I am the bad guy in wrestling. It's these different promotions I work at, BCW, BWF I worked at. Yeah. Trying to branch out to some others as well. But I've been the bad guy because I represent the heel. Thank you. Yes. Didn't necessarily know if you knew the term or not, or if your audience knows the term. But
now I do.
The heel is a bad guy in wrestling. So I represent this faction called the Satsujin Squad. And so, we our whole motto is change through violence. So that should tell you everything we need to know about us.
Amen. This is for wrestling, guys, not for life, but go ahead.
Right. No, I'm so different from real life than
so different from real life. Yes.
And it's funny enough because I'm using my real name.
So funny. Do people ever like confuse that this is like who Marc Chouen is?
Luckily not yet.
Not good.
Because the fans actually, so they're following me, they get to know me, like I talk to them after the show and they see who I am in real life. So they know who I am. But at the same time they probably love to boo me.
Oh,
when I'm
hell yeah. If you're good, I'm sure they do.
I talk a lot of shit.
So funny.
And then, so I bring that to the commentary booth.
Yep.
Because it's the same character, it's the same thing. So
awesome.
I talk down to Michael J. Putty, even though he's my bro in real life.
Yep.
I'm just saying he's got a group that he likes, BX Strong. They love. So I'm like, they call themselves a 2-man faction. I'm like, Putty, what does that even mean? They're a tag team. They're disgracing the tag team division.
It's so funny because like when we watch wrestling and stuff, I'm like, they're probably like friends in real life,
A lot of them are, yeah.
And it's like, but they're so good at talking down to each other.
But there's also a lot of drama. There's a lot of real life stuff that goes on that plays out. If people were to see the backstage stuff, that probably could be more interesting at times than what happens on the screen.
It's so like, even just like, so my boyfriend, John, he fills me on and everything. He'll read an article and he tells me, and I'm just like, such bullshit.
And at that point, you're talking about real life shit.
Yes, exactly. I swear that would be an awesome show to watch.
They have it. Total Divas. They have a reality TV show on Channel E.
Total Divas?
Total Divas, and Total Bellas as well. The Bella twins, Nikki and Brie Bella. They have their own reality TV show. Okay. It's good. It's addicting.
It's so funny. I like refuse to watch reality TV for like ever since I became an actor. Like I was like, I'm not going to support that because it takes away from. But there's certain things that are kind of awesome. This is probably really awesome.
Because it's like watching a train wreck, and I don't know about you, but when I watch movies or TV, I feel like my mind is still going. I'm studying.
100%.
I don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying the product, but at the same time, I'm studying. The mind is working. Wrestling for a while was my release until I got involved in it. So now what am I doing?
Right.
I'm studying.
I know.
So, that's when the mind works now. So what am I going to do? Reality TV. The mind goes off, baby.
And we all need that. Like, it's so true though, because like I'll watch a lot of things and it's like, especially working in casting, it's like, I know them from this. Oh, they auditioned for blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'm constantly looking for people, or like, it is studying like what people are being cast in, what as an actor too, like what kinds of things, what would I fit, blah, 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 all these things. It's a constant.
It's hard to turn that off. And again, it's not to say that you don't enjoy it or like, or it's like work. You are working. It just doesn't feel that way, but your mind is still actively going. And sometimes you just want to shut it off and have relief.
Yeah. I honestly, it's that's one of my biggest things. I like TV is for me. It is my way to like, to some degree, numb out when I need to. I've always been a very, very sensitive person. I feel very, very deeply all the time, even when there's not necessarily anything to be feeling so deeply about, just the thought of maybe something might, and I'm just like so affected. Sometimes I just need to jump into other people's worlds and just be there,
Right. No, 1000%. Like, there's certain shows like where 1000%, like I forget that I'm even studying. I just get so wrapped into that world, and it's a great escape. But I can't help it. Like when I'm watching great acting, I can't help but like learn from that.
Oh my God.
Or like even from a producing standpoint, like, okay, this is how they did that, blah, blah, blah. Like, just
I know.
It's a cool process, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, you still want to enjoy it. You don't want it to feel like work.
Yeah. And I think when I know a show or a movie is really good, when I'm not seeing any of the stuff that my mind normally churns like through when I'm watching stuff, like how they shot that, what that was actually, you know, like that angle. I know something's really good when I lose sight of all of that.
Right. No, of course.
It's kind of amazing. You know what I watched during quarantine, which I've never seen before? Community.
Dude, no way. I'm like in the last season now. I was watching that too.
I just finished the last season like last week.
Okay. Don't say anything.
I would never. I'm like the anti of spoilers. But I won't say anything about anything, but one of my favorite shows ever.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. It's crazy that the Russo brothers did this.
I know.
But at the same time, I could kind of see their stamp in it.
Yes. You know, it was
the humor is very much the same in the Marvel the Marvel movies. So it works.
And they're so good. I mean, one thing I love about it, which I won't ruin anything for anybody, if you haven't seen Community, I love that I'm like pimping out Community. I've like told everybody, like I'm harping on it. But for me, I love how it's like kind of never the same. Like
never is.
It never is. And I won't say any more about it, but it's like people compared it to Parks and Rec and The Office when it was out. It's not.
It's not.
Speaking to somebody recently, they're like, I think they were saying how they thought that it was, the way that they put it out in the media. Like, if you like Parks and Rec and you like The Office, you'll love this. And it's like, it was misrepresented.
So different.
Because it's so different.
Maybe the first season, I would say, is more along the lines of maybe The Office, Parks and Rec, that type of feel. But no, when you get to the second season, you can like not watch every episode. It's still like be
Absolutely.
into it.
It's funny because you can. There's but like every show, even a sitcom, like the characters grow and you grow with them. And like if you watch every episode from the beginning, of course you're invested in their journey. And like, so I do love that. Even with sitcoms, I want to watch it from the beginning, but this one you can jump around because they don't rely on each other. Yeah.
I have to say the show like Community, it's so great to watch right now because there's just so much negativity in the world.
Yep.
That you just need, like, again, an escape, just like a feel good moment, even if it's just a half hour, just to like laugh and just get away from like all the BS that's going around.
That's exactly it. It's just that like, it's silly and I just need that sometimes.
Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great shows on TV or streaming, but like, a lot of it's very heavy. And like we're living in heavy times.
A lot of it's very heavy. So there's enough heavy in here right now. It's enough.
Like my wife and I got her into Homeland, so I rewatched that with her. And at some point we had to stop and watch it. We had to stop watching because it's a heavy show, and there's just so much shit going on. It's a
very heavy show. Where you've seen it all the way through, and now you're
watching. Yeah. Oh, we finished watching it. She's good. She's caught up. Fantastic ending to the show. Loved it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You watched it, so you know what's up. Oh my God. Great way to end it.
Right? That's what I mean, it's terrible. Oh, we're a terrible show. Oh, I don't want to like hype anyone up.
I know, my God. No, this show is worth the hype, man. It was just so damn good.
If you ride the waves, you got to ride the waves with the show because it ebbs and flows in what, every season.
Right. No, it definitely does.
Changes,
and I have to say, the last couple of episodes, I hated Carrie. I was just like, oh my God, what is going on with her? I can't stand her anymore. The end, though?
Like when she dies at the end.
Yeah, right.
It makes up for it when she's dead.
6 feet under, baby. Gone.
Oops, sorry, guys. So funny. It's a great. I think it's great what they did. I think I love hating her and the show. It's so good. Just so good.
It totally is. And another show I have to say, I have to recommend if you haven't watched yet, because it's one of those feel-good shows.
Ooh, I need one.
Like it gives you hope. It's very hopeful. Newsroom.
I seen that way back when. it's it's only 3 seasons, right?
Only 3 seasons, very fast.
Yes.
I think it's like max 10 episodes each. I just
Aaron
noticed my
Sorkin.
lighting's horrible.
Oh, no, it's not. It's really not.
But thank you.
I was thinking
anyway.
very even. Guys, just, like doing all this, there's like the lighting and the sound. So much goes into this, guys. So you got to give it up for Marky Boy for looking as good, man. Goddamn, that haircut.
Say your hair and makeup. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Newsroom, I have to say, I strongly recommend that show if you want to find some hope. And I have to say, even though the show was like, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
It still relates today.
Oh my God.
The things that are going on, like the problems that we're going through today, it relates.
It
gives you that light of hope.
It really does. It is. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. I always blank on names lately. What the hell? Sam. Oh my God. What's his name?
Sam, wait.
Wait, it's the
yes.
From Law and Order.
What's his name?
Thank you, because I have an excuse.
Knew it.
I've had a fever for like 6 months, so my brain stopped working.
I don't know how you did that for 6 months. You had a fever.
It's like not gone. So like,
that's wild.
Whenever I'm teaching class, I'm always just like, trying to like direct, and I'm like, all you need is, and it's like the one word that would encapsulate everything. And my brain's like, nope, we're not going to give you that word right now. You're just going to suffer.
Right. And here I am, like I'm suffering through the name, and I'm one of those people I just have to know. So you see me right now.
Oh yeah, no, like totally. Because otherwise I would have just pulled out my phone and like still listened to you, but like my eyes would have been down looking. So, what the hell?
Sam Waterston.
Yes.
Yes.
He is. Mwah, I love him.
Oh my God, he's one of my favorite characters.
He's just one of the best actors ever. Like I'm obsessed with him. Do you watch Grace and Frankie?
No, I haven't watched it.
That's a Netflix one. Very good show. But he's also on there. And I just want to pick him up, squeeze him, put him in my pocket, and take him around for the rest of my life. I just love him.
He's a likable person. Like whenever I see him, you just can't help but root for his character. Right?
He's so likable. Imagine he's like the biggest dick in real life.
I would be so disappointed in that. You have no idea.
I would be really sad.
It's crazy. I hear about like people that are just like, that I respect, that are just so talented, and I'm like, oh my God, it must be so cool to work with. It's so refreshing when I hear like, okay, what you see matches up to that.
I know.
Like here's stories of people that worked with him. Like, oh my God, yeah, what you see what you see on TV, what you see in interviews, that's him in real life, or that's her in real life. But it's disheartening when you hear like, oh, you like that person? Well, let me tell you.
I know. And because we're in this business too, like if we do know somebody that has worked with them or whatever, like somebody that their word is trustworthy, it's kind of like, oh, so it's true. Oh,
yeah.
Because there's a lot of.
That's the thing though. Like it's got, you have to hear like the reasons, right? And you have to hear
context.
Like the context of who it's come from. Like I heard for example, I heard a story about one particular actor. I don't want to use a name.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. You could tell me after.
He was a lead on a show, and I heard a lot of negative things about him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a chance to work with him, and I'm like right there with him, and I see what's going on. He had his family on set and everything. He was pretty chill. He's fine. Very professional. I heard he was a dick, but he was very professional. And I could see what's going on. He's very much in the zone. He cares a lot about the show and the character. And I know the body of work that he's done.
Yeah.
And it's very intense. So he's a very intense actor.
Yep.
Not a dick.
Very different thing.
Very different thing. I could see why maybe someone would say that he's standoffish or whatever. Right. But no, he's professional. He's trying to do, he's not here to make friends. He's here to do a job.
And just like we said before, everybody, you and I both have a completely different process. Every actor has a completely different process, has a completely different way of, and so, yeah, somebody may be like, oh, they were totally unfriendly, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they were just having a hard time, like being in the space, and they were just trying to like be still and blah, blah, blah.
Maybe they have a hard scene coming up. Maybe they have an emotional scene coming up. They have to be in that moment. Maybe there's so many things going on.
Maybe just as a human, they're shy.
Right.
Maybe they have anxiety. Like they're just human.
Right. Like, people seem to forget that, the actors, athletes, reporters, we're all people. I have to say, I have, people don't really think about this. So I have a friend that does, that produces the news. Right.
Yeah.
And during the whole election time and everything, we all know how long and stressful this election was.
Oh my God.
And, I just couldn't help but think of her. It's just like, man, she's probably going nuts right now. Mm-hmm. So I texted her just to see how she's holding up. It's like, so Mark, if you can, hug the nearest journalist you see. Like, we all need it right now.
I can only imagine.
Like, but you forget that these are people too. And like, if we felt exhausted by the election and just the news in general this year, imagine how they feel.
It's so true. It's so true. It's, it really comes down to like taking that pause. And I know for me, realizing it's not all about me. Yeah. It's like I can have a reaction but like everybody's got their role that they're playing. Everybody's just trying to get by. Right. And like, it's not all about me, even though it feels like it's personally to me. No matter what, like even if it's a one-on-one thing, people have their own stuff. It's just, yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what level you are in life or what your status is. I mean, we're all people at the end of the day. We're all going through our thing. Some may argue it's like, well, they're in the public light, they signed up for it. Yes and no. I mean, hell, you put yourself out there for public criticism, for sure. But then you see what's going on social media. You see the attacks that they get. I know. Like actually attacked on social media. That's not criticism. That's something else. That's hate right there. That's right. That's just, and God, I won't even go down this path about like the internet, because it just gave anybody with like a keyboard this huge voice that can last for some of those aren't even real people. That's what's amazing, right? And yet it gets viewed, it gets read, it gets experienced just because somebody decides to put it there. Like whether it's valid or not, the internet's crazy, man. It's a crazy time. Yeah, it can be. It can be. I have my whole pros and cons about technology. But it can be a beautiful thing, if people use it right. Right. But sadly enough, I mean, I wouldn't say everyone. I wouldn't even say a lot of people. I would say, it just seems like it's just so many people using it the wrong way or in a negative way. Yeah. But really, it's only a small amount of people. If you really think about it, it's just they get more attention. Right. It's funny. It just reminded me of like when I was a kid and I was hurting and like emotionally, like life was hard or whatever. And I would act out. And it's like negative attention was better than no attention. So I would act out, and it was just, and all these people, when I try and remember, these people are just hurting. They're unhappy. They're angry. And so they just lash it out. They want to be seen. They want to be heard, whether it's relevant or not, because they just aren't well within themselves. Right. You don't really think about that, especially when you're younger. It's very easy, especially as an adult too. I mean, it's so much easier to think internally and think only about what you're going through and how you're feeling. But it's something to be said, like everyone's going through something, especially kids. Yeah. You don't know what they're going through back home. You don't know why they're acting out the way they're acting out in school. You have no idea. No one really knows. How many people take the time to find out, to even just ask, how are you doing? I know. How are you holding up? Or instead of you're punished, that was bad. What's going on? What made you do that? Or and that's, I have a lot of, no one asks why anymore. I know. Just, it's just labeled and judged. Bad, good. Mm-hmm. I won't say no one, but it makes me so happy when people think past just what we see or what we feel immediately. It's right. I feel like it's our duty as humans to do that. I feel like I have a good quote for this, but I forgot it. So. If he thinks of it, we'll post it with the episode. Oh my God, I love it. There's so much. I mean, we could talk. It's funny, like while we're talking, I'm like, all right, let's go back to this. There's so much that we could talk about.
Oh, totally.
But one thing I do want to ask you, and it's something I've always wondered about you. So we spoke about this earlier. When I first met Marc, I think I was assisting working at
Yes.
casting. I was. And was it at Endeavor?
It was at
Studios?
Endeavor, yeah.
Endeavor, that's what I remembered. So it was at Endeavor and I was assisting this casting, and I met Marc and we were talking about writing and producing, and Marc was producing a web series that a friend of ours was creating and writing. And you're like the biggest example for me. Producing to me is like, I'm like, what is producing? And how the hell do you produce? And like, so if you produce it, you have the money, or if you produce it, you're like the putting all the pieces together. And you just had such a grasp of it and you just were doing it. And I still to this day am like, how did you become a producer? And what the hell is it?
Well,
I know more today than I did then, but it's still kind of confusing.
Well, there's just so many different levels of producing though.
Right.
I mean, we describe as such like having the money. I mean, yeah,
Right.
I mean that's one form of producing. That would be the executive producer that like
that's
owns the project.
Right.
Yeah, they own the rights to it. I'm not necessarily that guy. There's also like the line producer, that that helps schedule it, budget it,
Right.
yada yada. I'm more of the type of producer I get shit done.
Yeah,
that
does not surprise me.
No. Like, you tell me what you need. You tell me what you're looking to do, and I'm going to find a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to help your project get made. That's the type of producing that I do. I feel like I should just put that on my card. Marc Chouen, I get shit done.
Yeah, seriously. I know, because like, dude, if anybody is thinking about hiring this guy for any aspect of this business, he will get shit done. I've seen it. Like,
thank you.
It's true.
I find
man.
a way. I find a way.
You're on top of it. No, you are. You're always on top of it.
And it's funny, like with my wedding, I have to tell you, I viewed it in that mindset as well. Like I viewed it felt very similar to like producing a movie.
Wow.
And so like a lot of them, I didn't necessarily do the plan by myself. Like me and my wife, we did together, but people were shocked that I was helping plan it. Because apparently, normally it's the woman doing it.
Apparently, women are very specific about. I've never once thought about my wedding until like I'm like, oh, maybe, yeah, I don't know. People are very specific about it, but go ahead.
I had no idea. Like, I even called some venues, set up some meetings, blah blah blah. Apparently, some of them thought like I was a gay man. I was going to have like my future husband with me. Like, oh, okay, man and wife, great.
It's like, no, men can actually have taste and opinions and be invested.
Right.
That's amazing.
But no, it was very similar to that. It's just and I think my wife would very appreciative of the help that I gave with that, because and not for nothing, I mean, this is stuff I've done professionally. So like, it would be a no-brainer to apply that to this as well. As far as like, all right, what's the plan here? How can we do this? How can we get it under budget? And all that. Like, who do I know? What favors can I call in? Shit like that.
So like a producer is like it's like the magic man or woman. Like that. It's trying to connect. It's trying to connect all the dots and like make the dots talk to each other, and like I feel like it's a whole lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. It's like you can't just check off one box. I feel like in producing, it's like there's just so much that goes into it. I enjoy it so much. I fell into it by accident. I had a senior project to do. One of the things I could have done was like make a movie, and so I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. So it was like probably like one of the few times I've written something. And I was like, oh, I'll act in it. I'll be the lead in it. At that point, I've never played a bad guy in my life, so a role for me as a villain. Awesome. And I've never looked back.
That's the best. It's so fun.
Right, it's the best. I can go into that all in itself. But to answer your question, so this whole thing happened by accident. And next thing, like, it's something I enjoyed. I never thought for sure I would like enjoy something as much as acting until producing came around. It's it's chaos. It can be chaos, but it's a fun chaos because, you know, once
That's
you
really
see
cool.
the final product, once you see that, it's kind of like your baby. You know, it's like I helped
Yeah.
make that happen. And you can't help but feel
So
like
cool.
some pride with that.
That's really amazing. It's funny. I never knew I could like something, love something the way I do with acting until I started. Well, casting made me realize that I love directing and teaching, and the joy that brings. I never would have known. So I fell into that by accident too, just like I did with casting. So it's like, you know, it's pretty amazing.
It's gratifying.
For sure. Dude,
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying the casting process too. I've gotten involved with like helping with stuff with casting projects too, and I actually we sat in the same room actually once for the Circle for the
yes.
And I gotta say, I mean, that's a cool feeling as well.
Yes.
You know, I know at one point in my life I want to, no matter where I am, I want to be involved helping actors, and I think casting is a great way to do that.
Yep. Because it's like, and I love getting the feedback that like when people are in the room with me, that it's not like being in the room with a lot of other casting directors, that I give and help and like that they feel comfortable, and like that is my job, not just to direct well and to get them to deliver what needs to be delivered, but to be there for them, so that to give them whatever they possibly need to have their best performance. To be able to do their best. And it's the best feeling in the world to be able to give that. I
gotta say, man, casting, they don't get enough love.
That's
they don't.
It's a crazy business.
It's a crazy business. I think that you guys should have your own award in the Oscars and the Golden Globes and whatnot. That's a whole other story. But I feel like there's this whole mindset with actors. They get so intimidated by casting.
I know.
But a lot of them don't know. And I think, you know, the professionals, they do know. Mm-hmm. But, you know, a lot of the misconception is like, you know, I'm working against casting. No, casting's working with you.
Yes.
They could be your best friend.
Yep. And it's like, I always say this to students or whenever I'm on like a I was going to say a smorgasbord. No, I'm not on a smorgasbord.
Great word. I love that word.
Such a good word, smorgasbord. Whenever I'm like on a forum or something, like I'm always just like, a lot of actors will be, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you took the time. And I'm like, I've told people like, chill with the grateful, chill with the gratitude. I'm one of you.
Right.
Like we share this space. I thank you. You thank me. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page. But like, I'm not above you. Like, you don't need to like be like caring so much what I think. Like,
right.
It's a teamwork. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
It's
a teamwork. And they're there to help you. You know,
exactly.
Like if a casting director gives you a note, use it. I mean, they're helping you out, man. Yes. They're giving you an answer to the quiz.
Exactly. A lot of people don't want to see it that way though. They go in with their idea and they're really good at sticking at that.
Yeah. Right. Oh, they give me a note. They don't like me. Oh God, no. Oh right. No. What do I do?
Like, what do I do? Or they just have this idea, the way they played it out. The actor has the idea that, no, that's the right way. That's the interesting thing. And it's like, that may very well be true. But if I'm telling you,
there's a reason why.
Right. If I'm telling you they don't want it done that way, don't keep doing it that way. I'm telling you to help you.
Or do you sometimes throw a note out there just to see if they can take direction?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love sometimes, especially when I'm teaching, like I'm just for shits and giggles, I'll go with my instinct and it may be totally zigzagging, but it's like, oh yeah. Like if somebody can do it, and especially even going in a completely different direction, it fills in all the cracks. It just does, because it builds the life. So then even if you go back to the straight way that you're doing it, you have all this. I just think it lives inside of you differently. So that way, even when you deliver it straight, it's full.
Amen.
It's God.
That's well said.
It's a cool thing we do, acting and directing and creating.
In entertainment in general. I mean, when I first, I remember it was like probably like what, maybe the third date I went on with my wife, well, my now wife.
So amazing.
And you know, I when I told you about me shifting gears from banking to this, she was probably the only person I told, because I felt like I owed it to her. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
When I first started this journey or this process, making these moves, I was just by myself. I had literally nothing to lose.
Right.
Right. But lo and behold, this special woman comes to my life, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, I have to tell her what's up, and then it's up to her if she wants to come along with this journey or not.
Yep.
Because before it gets too serious.
Right.
And I told her, listen, this is my plan. This is my goal. But here's the thing: one way or another, I am going to be in this business because I love it.
Amen.
And fast forward, she's my wife, so obviously she.
And you're in this business, and you're in this business.
So she supported it.
Dreams do come true, kids.
Amen.
It's a pretty amazing thing. Amen. Dude.
You got to work for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I said this years ago. My brother's like, where'd you hear that? I'm like, I actually made it up, but it's like, I think it just applies and it always sticks with me. It's all a matter of faith and footwork. Like yes. I gotta do the footwork, but the rest is not up to me. And I got to just keep.
There are so many things out of your control. So many things. Yeah. But
everything except me.
Yes.
Is out of my control.
Right. So that's why you always it doesn't matter like how good you think you are or how good people have told you that you are.
Yeah.
Just don't be complacent. If you put into work, you continuously put in that work and you keep the faith going, it's going to happen.
It's an amazing thing because for so long in my life, and I'm still figuring it out, to not care, but I cared so much about what other people thought about me or my talent or how I was viewed or how I came across. And the thing is that this time during quarantine made me face myself in a way that I've worked on myself for many years. I've did therapy for many years, but really being with myself, stuck with myself, made me really see things. And I don't want to care what anybody thinks, says, feels. I want to care who I see in the mirror, who I show up with each day. And do I do right by others? Do I feel like I did a good job? Do I feel like I'm being proactive about my life? Do I feel like I like who I am, that I'm loving, other than that.
That's what matters the most.
Yes. Because you know what? I've been told wonderful things by different people. I was about to say by so many people, because everybody loves me. It sounded horrible.
They do, Sammy. They do. Let's be real.
It's amazing. But people have said lovely things about me. But you know what? They rolled right off because I wasn't feeling them within myself. And they're not going to land. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I have to believe in myself. So I have to work at that.
We are our own worst enemies. We're our own worst critics.
Yep.
And I think we put all this unnecessary pressure on ourselves. The things that we think people are thinking about us or what they believe about us, 9 times out of 10, it's not true.
No. It's all projection.
Yeah, you're just projecting this. I mean, at the end of the day, you're waking up with yourself. You're going to sleep by yourself. You're the only one looking yourself in the mirror. I mean, can you face yourself in the mirror? Can you go to sleep happy at night? Can you wake up in a positive attitude? Do you love yourself? That's what it comes down to.
Yep. There's a phrase that somebody said to me a long time ago, and it was like always thinking that they're thinking this bad about me or blah, 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 blah. And it's like this person said, yeah, you think you're the biggest piece of shit in the center of the universe. So it's like, I'm that bad, but I'm that important that everybody's thinking about me. You know what I mean? But they're thinking only bad things. So it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm the biggest piece of shit in the center of the universe. And it's like, that says everything to me. I always love that. Isn't that great?
No, that's so true. We're not the center of the universe. No one's not everyone's thinking about you.
Right. It's not, it's amazing.
I mean, hell, you could be Tom Cruise and not everyone's thinking about you, man.
Yeah. Dude, I can't say he's taken up that much space in my mind.
No, but you know what I mean.
No, I'm kidding. Here. Of course. Insert any celebrity. Exactly.
Yeah.
And And if people are spending that much time focusing on insert celebrity name here, they're not spending time with themselves. They're not looking at themselves. Whenever we look at outward, it's because we're not with ourselves. For me.
No, that means you're looking for some other type of gratification, and you're not going to find it if you're looking for elsewhere. You got to find it in yourself.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, going back to what you're saying. I mean, I heard a good quote before, like, the things that we say about ourselves, right? We say a lot of nasty things in our head about ourselves.
Yep.
Would you let anyone talk to your best friend that way?
I know. I love that. I've heard that too. And it's so true.
Yeah.
Never. Would
be
I
your own best friend?
Right. And be your own best friend. It's like, would I ever talk to anyone else that way? No. So why would I let myself or anybody else talk to me that way? Things I would never, ever think or feel or say to maybe I would think them because I'm human, but I would never do it.
Right. Because we say some god awful things about ourselves mentally.
Oh, and that's awareness. For me, it's becoming more and more aware, because when those thoughts are quiet, they creep below the surface and they dictate who I behave as, and I'm not aware of it. So I have to learn to become more aware of those negative thoughts so I can go, fuck you. No, it does matter that I do it. And it's not a waste of time. Like, fuck you, and that's fuck you to my own fake thoughts.
Right. Fake thoughts. No more fake news. Fake thoughts.
Fake thoughts. Do you know what? And I love this. It's an acronym, but fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yes, I've seen that one too. I love it.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's fear. It's self-based fear. God,
I feel like this. I feel like this is like a self-help thing for both of us right now.
Seriously, it's like.
And for anyone else that's listening.
Seriously, I hope you got anything out of it, because we're certainly like, yeah, man, yeah, amen.
Do you want to have a quote off? Let's have a quote.
Like, we're gonna have a quote off, man. We might take you offline, but we're gonna have a quote off. I freaking love you, man.
I miss you, man.
I miss you too. I'm so happy to see you.
I know.
Before we could talk for a bazillion more years, and we're going to make plans for next week. But before we go on to any other tangents, there is a portion of my show that is called The Feather in Your Cap.
Okay.
And by feather in your cap, I mean an achievement that you've had, maybe a success, something that you've learned along your journey that you've kind of brought with you as it serves you, it can serve you, something to pull out and go, that's right. Do you have a feather in your cap that comes to mind that you'd be willing to share with the viewers or listeners?
I think, we talked about a lot of things, and I think we did discuss it before. The whole transition from becoming a banker to living my dream was not easy. It was not an easy choice to make. It wasn't just overnight, so I am proud that I stuck with it. I'm proud that I was able to accomplish that, because honestly, I probably wouldn't be as happy as I am today. And one thing I learned during this pandemic, I have to say, is that, at one point I told you where I felt like at one point, is this over? Is the party over? Yeah. What am I going to do next? Mm-hmm. That whole thing where we talk about aspire to inspire. A friend of mine told me, it doesn't necessarily matter if like that was acting or whatever, you can apply that to anything you do. Yep. Whatever you do in your life, if that's really what you believe, that's really your model you want to live by, whatever journey you take on next, you can be bagging groceries for all I care. Yeah. If that's really your code, your mantra that you say and that you to live by, others are going to notice that. So don't let what you do define you. That message, your reason why, let that be what defines you.
I love that. I love that. And it makes me want to come up with a mantra for myself that there's many things, like we said, many thoughts and ideas that I think about each day or that come to mind that I'm aware of. But I think it's really beautiful to have something, aspire to inspire. That's a motto to live by for you.
It's pretty much, if you want to view it as something, it's my mission statement.
I love that.
So I mean, that's who I am. That's not, if it turns out I get dementia tomorrow and I can't remember, if I can't memorize lines, whatever, and I have to retire from acting, whatever. Okay, so that journey's over, but I'm still here. I'm still living on. There's a lot of things I could still do with that message.
100%. Talking about what's in our control. We can't control everything else, but that's the thing we can.
Right.
It's really beautiful, man. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to have to do a pickup session with this because we could talk so much. There's so much more I want to catch up about. But tell us, so for those of you guys watching and listening, Marc, tell us where we can keep up with you, see what you're up to, listen to the pod, all that good stuff.
Well, I think the easiest way to find me is my website. I have two websites. It's all the same. It goes to the same place. It's markchouen.com, but I know a lot of people don't even know how to spell that or pronounce it. So yourfavoriteactor.com is the best way to go.
I love that. When I saw that, yourfavoriteactor.com, I was like, dude, that's money. That's awesome. That's so Marc. That's so you. I love it.
People were like, how conceited is this guy? No, man, I'm joking.
You're not. What did I say? What did I say about Marc before? I said he's smooth, savvy, suave, but genuine.
Thank you.
You're not, you're a humble dude. You're not, you may come across like you have your stuff together. You work hard to have your stuff together, but it's not disingenuous. It's not a bunch of hype and you feeling hoity-toity. No,
I don't want to be that guy. I never want to be that guy.
You're very grounded and down to earth.
Thank you.
So those of you that don't know him, you can trust that. You can trust that. And you got to know him a little bit today. If you don't already, then you're very lucky now. It's true.
But yes, you can go to yourfavoriteactor.com. My social media links are in there. It's probably easier to just list a bunch of social media stuff.
And I'm gonna post all of his information with the episode as well. So if you're zoning out because we talked for a really long time, which is kind of what we do, then you just read the description. All of his stuff will be there, so you can keep up with him and all of the good stuff he's doing. And guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you felt an ounce of what we felt sitting here, because it's been pretty awesome. Talk about a day that takes you out of quarantine and brings you to humanity. So thank you so much, man. And
I feel like we should have had a glass of wine during this.
I know. I'm I feel like I want to light a candle and maybe get a cigar. It's amazing. So we're going to have to do this again, obviously, because we don't even want to shut up, but we'll let you guys go for today. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. Rate, subscribe, all that good stuff helps us keep going. It keeps us connected. You'll be updated about the next time Marky Pants is on here. And that's it, man. We love you and appreciate you. And Marc, I love and appreciate you. And I'm so happy that we got to catch up.
Oh, same here. Been way too long. Let's not let it be another 10 years.
Yes, just keep texting
10 years
me.
into one.
I promise that. You're the best, man. Thank you.
Much love, Sammy. Thank you for having me on.
Much love.